So once a week, I used to tutor a third grader from Puebla, Mexico named Daniel. His father, Roberto, we call him Beto, is a short, chubby little man I used to work with in a restaurant kitchen who's got a smile like a kid who just set a thumbtack on the teacher's seat. Oh. My nephew Tyler is also in the third grade, but he doesn't need a tutor. In fact, he just recently won the school-wide spelling bee for his age. You see, Tyler could probably spell resilience, but Daniel could describe it. They both have one thing in common, though. They're absolutely obsessed with animated superheroes. My nephew worships Spider-Man and the Hulk. I guess he dreams of one day climbing walls and showing off his giant green biceps with Daniel. His hero isn't ripped, has no real superpowers, never steps into a phone booth to secretly slip into costume, and goes by an ordinary name. It's me, Mario! Super Mario to be exact, but there isn't much super about him. I mean, he's a plumber in overalls who picks flowers to give him the temporary ability to throw fireballs at what look like pelicans and turtle shells, and conquers every dangerous level by jumping off a brick wall and sliding down a flagpole. Either way, he's plastered all over Daniel's walls in various goofy poses, and I can never understand why any kid would pick Mario to be his favorite superhero over the muscle-popping, web-slinging, slick costume-wearing Peter Parker. But then I realized that maybe for Daniel, that pudgy little plumber with no muscles and an accent as thick as his mother's tamales reminds him of his father. Working class, immigrant man, never carried a plunger but knows what it's like to handle other people's shit, knows what it's like to climb a wall and leap for a flag they told him could never be his in the first place, so he threw steaming handfuls of desert aside like fireballs when he crossed Sonora to come work in the U.S. back when paradise was just a pair of dice, like an ivory box full of dreams placed before a firing squad of Minutemen and Border Patrol. He has no documents, no superpowers, no social security number, and a third grade education like his son. So he paid me a few bucks a week to help his little boy become the student he never had a chance to be. But in a state where Daniel isn't even considered a resident, I'm afraid the tuition may be a bigger barrier to cross than the border. And I wonder if I should still be teaching him to fish in a lake full of lava and lies, because I know that at 8 years old, he can be anything he wants to be, except a college student. You see, about a decade ago, a bill called the DREAM Act was proposed to help immigrant minors achieve higher education. But every year, after all the votes come in just short enough to make it seem like partisan villains actually want to help their cooks, maids, janitors, and tomato pickers make it out of the field and into the classroom, the bill is rolled into a scroll and left to rot in the dead sea of false hope at the Capitol building. And Daniel's future is a montage of snapshots unseen, scrolled up like a roll of film picked from the pant pocket of divinity by a fallen angel and left to rot in some shadowy corner of heaven he thought God would never look. But I remind Daniel that even the brightest and most brilliant of photographs have to develop in the darkness. And you, mijo, were born on a doorstep made of midnight. These days, they got a dozen deadbolts on the dawn, but your daddy, he started teaching you to pick those locks at the same age he taught you to tie your shoes and walk like the earth belonged to no one. Once, I arrived a little early to one of our tutoring sessions. Daniel was still playing Super Mario. When his mother told him it was homework time, he whined and said he wanted to keep playing. A smirk bullet trained across my cheeks, but her response derailed my smile in its tracks. She told him, "Mijo, tienes que estudiar, para que no seas como tu papá, haciendo el trabajo que los demás no quieren hacer. My son, you have to study, so you don't end up like your father, doing the work that no one else wants to." And I wanted to tell him no. Tell him your mother is a brick-house guerrera of a woman that loves you enough to slit her own dignity's throat. And I know what she's trying to teach you, boy, but nah, mijo. Nah, you be just like your father. Learn to pick those locks like he taught you. Let no rules written by men tell you where you can roam on God's green earth. No Uncle Sandman tell you where you can dream. You rub those little grains of Sonora out your eyes and replace them with little bits of revelation. And if a classmate or a store clerk or a coward with a badge made of false courage ever calls you illegal, you remind them that a few decades back, the gutter used to be the border that kept black folk off the sidewalk legally. You're a superhero to me, Nico, with a Mexican flag for a cape tied around your shoulders and the same knot your father used, taught you to tie your shoes with before you walked through a quicksand of flames that smelled like an Ellis Island inferno. Forget a phone booth and a disguise. Tell them your true identity in the middle of the street. Sin vergüenza, unashamed. Breathe bilingual fire when you're over here to oversee your secrets in English and spit them back to the field hands in your mother tongue and your father's heart. And just know that one day, you may find a brick-house guerrera of a woman that will hold you as tightly as her courage. And maybe she will teach you how to hold a son the same way. He will have his grandfather's smile and his mother's eyes. And if he ever doubts the fireballs in his palms, she will tell him, Un día, mijo, vas a ser exactamente igual que tu papá. One day, my son, you will be just like your dad.